Hello, thanks for joining Luna Wisdom Tarot. I'm Antoinette, and I have another pick a card reading for you. This one is about what compliments do people give you behind your back? And so I chose some cards from the crystal deck. So this will be pile number 1, and this one is Azurite. And then pile number 2, which is Howlite. And pile number 3, this is Amber. So please meditate on the cards. Think about what you would like to pick, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, pile 1. If you selected Azurite, then this is your reading. I had pre-shuffled a few cards, so those are already laid out. Before we get started, as a reminder, this is a general reading for hundreds of people, so if you take what resonates and leave the rest, it probably isn't going to be 100% accurate for you. If you start listening to it and you just don't resonate with it at all, then just go ahead and pick another pile. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So when I look at the Azurite card, on the back of the card, it read to explore your hidden depths. And so I think pile 1, that's definitely going to come into play here. Just shuffling a few more cards. Okay. So what compliments do people give you behind your back? Starting out, people talk about how luck seems to always be on your side. The wheel seems to turn in your favor very often, signified by the wheel card. There's a lightness and a joy and a sense of adventure with you, where people really just resonate with the idea that you seem to still have a sense of freedom that other people are starting to lose. Let's just say being weighed down by the dailies of life, right? By the obligations of life. It seems like you still can tap into a childlike nature. You can still have joy. You still are willing to take risk. And with that, it shows, because the Wheel of Fortune turns in your favor often. You often just get these amazing, we'll say, advantages in life. Like maybe you get free things. Maybe you just happen to luck out and get a great deal on something that you purchased, but you're the type of person where this happens for you a lot. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the 8 of Pentacles. When I see this energy, your luck comes through very loud and clear here. She has a lot to choose from here. I'm going to hold up the card. She has a lot to choose from. She's not just have maybe 1 or 2 choices. I mean, she literally has 8 pentacles. She has several choices, 8 choices to choose from of what she wants to create, what she wants to go after next. You are a person that makes your own luck. You go after things. You make sure to align with things that make sense. And you're not a type of person where you're not willing to take a risk, and that shows so clearly, and people compliment you about it. Like there's times where maybe you may hear some negativity, like people are like, I can't believe you're doing this, or you're taking this risk and I don't agree with it. But for you, they like the fact that you make clear decisions. So we're going to go back to that Azurite card. One of the things that the card covers is the fact that people, if they feel like imprisoned by indecision, if they have a lot of worry, this is why people really they compliment you too, because with the 7 of Wands, what's reflected here is she's completely within herself. There's a bubble around her. There's a sense of calmness and peace. She has 7 wands in front of her. So when we think about that wand energy, that creative energy, there's also a sense of trust, right? There's a sense of self-protection. You understand boundaries. You understand your lane. You understand how to turn the wheel in your favor. People really frankly admire that about you and compliment you about that behind your back. They definitely give compliments. Now we come back into the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is playing further into this energy. Now I want to stop to mention that you may be an earth sign, you may be a Taurus. In fact, if you're not, don't worry, this is still your reading, but you could have Taurus in your chart or another earth sign in your chart. Because you have Nine of Pentacles here and the Eight of Pentacles, we see that you're very like, we'll say that your head can be in the clouds, in the fact that you can have a higher spiritual purpose and be aware, but you're also grounded. You're not being pulled by other people's opinions and choices. You're not easily swayed by the crowd. You're very stable on your 2 feet. So when we look at the Nine of Pentacles, you've planted a lot of seeds that are already coming to pass. People, again, see you as lucky because of that, but you have consistently put in the work. You've put in diligence. You've put in hard work. You understand what it took to get to where you're at, and you enjoyed the process. But you're actually at a point of celebration. Look at her face here. Financial abundance is definitely something people see you as, or someone who's really smart with their money, someone who's really smart with their choices. Maybe you invest. Doesn't mean it has to be stocks and bonds and mutual funds. It could also be like you invest in, clothing or in art or in, there's so many ways, right, to invest, but you definitely invest. You know how to plan your future and to enjoy the now as well. And so people really compliment you about that, especially I feel like you could be someone who's done it from a young age. So you're definitely a standout there. You're someone who has had that practical side for a long time. We have the Star card coming out in reverse. They like that you don't always have to be the center of attention. You're somebody who can grab attention, but you're definitely someone who's very comfortable to let other people, shine bright. You don't feel threatened by others, by their successes. You're very comfortable with who you are, and you're very comfortable with what you bring to the table. So we have the King of Wands coming out next. This further plays out this idea of being comfortable about who you are. In fact, I'm tempted to put it up on the Star card, so I will. The reason why I know you're super comfortable with it is because the King of Wands is obviously a leader in his own right, but he's a creative leader. He's very passionate, but he knows how to use that passion. Again, we talk about you knowing how to use the wheel in your favor. You know how to use that passion. You're comfortable alone, but you're also comfortable with your pride, as represented by the Lion card, meaning that it doesn't always have to be about you, but when the time comes, there's no sense of fear or imposter syndrome. You stand bold, and you come off and you come across as if you're owning that room, as if you're owning the place wherever you are at that moment, when you're in your vibe, when you're in your element. Now, this is definitely something people see and compliment you on, but this may be something that you don't see within yourself, which a lot of times that happens for us, where we really just don't see what we have. So if you are struggling with imposter syndrome, if you are struggling with standing out at times, please do not discard this message. This is still for you. It just means in this area, people already see what you are, and now you just have to build the confidence around it to step into it. That's all you have to do. So know that and just go for it full hog. Like, it's so funny, I never say full hog, so I must be channeling. The Hangman in reverse. That comes out next. You know what? You have such unique perspectives. You're willing to change and to look at things in a totally different way. You're also willing to take your time. Do you notice here she's just kind of hanging? And that's a classic view of the Hangman in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. He's just hanging as well. But it's almost like it looks like a meditative practice, versus here it looks almost like she's doing some sort of aerial yoga move. But regardless, you're not rushed to make a decision. So when we talk about the wheel turning in your favor and we look at the Seven of Wands, this plays hand in hand so beautifully because you trust yourself. The King of Wands shows that as well. And we notice every one of these cards doesn't have anybody else in it. You've built a very strong relationship with yourself. You respect yourself. You understand what you're offering. There's no sense of doubt. This is huge. A lot of people do not have this. So I want you to just stop and like pat yourself on the back, because there's times where we doubt ourselves and we doubt what we're bringing to the table. Don't doubt this. You've really done a lot of like significant self-work, and I see that here. Eight of Wands. When it's time, so we talked about the calmness, and I keep telling this story, and this is what people see. So they're like, oh my God, she's so relaxed, and she just seems to take her time. And then out of nowhere, bam, you hit it with just huge vigor. You hit it with this energy. If you look at these Eight of Wands, they're flying. They're in an act of energy, in an act of momentum. There's something that's dynamic about them. Same for you. When you've made your decision, there's no stopping you. Again, you are the King of Wands, and you do have a lot of passion. There's a lot of wands in this energy, so think about the wand energy a lot, because I feel like for you, being creative, most likely a fire signs are also watching this. So if you're a fire sign, like really embrace this, especially if you're a Leo, that's, a nod to you. As well as the Azurite said that it could be reflected to Leos as well. But you don't have to be a Leo. Any of the fire signs would work here, as well as any other sign. It could be in your chart. It could just be something, an energy that you resonate with in this moment, in your vibe. We don't always have to reflect in our birth chart exactly what's in these readings, because sometimes it's just a certain aspect of this. So I'll stop and say, like, I don't have a lot of fire in my chart. I think I have 2 planets in fire signs, but I'm very, very much an air sign. But that being said, the fire energy comes up a lot in my personal readings. And so I find that I am a very passionate person. And so this really is reflected here. You are a very passionate person, no matter what's in your chart. And it shows. But you also have this sense of calm and stability that we're seeing with the reflected with the pentacles. Okay, let's get some more. What compliments do people give you behind your back? I'll tell you, you're a force to be reckoned with. Oh yeah, the Five of Wands. You know what? You don't have a problem striving for what you want. And if you notice with this card, a lot of times with the Five of Wands, it's reflected as like infighting. But if you look here, everybody's going through their own struggles. You understand this innately, and you often don't get pulled into like petty agreements and disagreements and things like that. You're not a jealous person because you understand, one, everybody's kind of going through their own thing. Like this person's hanging here, this person's climbing up, this person's like so close to the flame, this one's right behind him trying to get to the flame. She's looking down like she lost something. There's so much going on. For you, I see you as this person reaching up to the flame. You understand to keep your focus on the prize. Again, this is why the wheel turns in your favor. This is why it's the Eight of Wands energy. You keep your focus, you move forward with dynamic precision. And before you know, and you took a long time, reflected with the Hangman card, you take a long time to decide. Not necessarily timeline long, but when I say a long time, I mean like you really think about it. You really like let it marinate. You're not somebody who is going to just make a snap decision and regret it later. Oh no. If it doesn't come clear to you, you will actually set it aside, live your life, and then kind of come back to it. And then when it's clear, you move forward with dynamic attention. There's a sense of, I would say, confidence that I see with your group and that people see in you. It takes a lot of confidence to go after things this way. A lot. Because a lot of times people will force themselves because they know this is what they want. But there's a lot of pitfalls and challenges along the way. Or maybe they go halfway and realize this isn't what I want. And you rarely have those times. You just rarely do. So Four of Wands coming out in reverse. The first card, well, no, the second card that actually has other people in it. Okay. What people compliment about you, reflected by the Four of Wands. You have fun no matter where you go. It just seems like you're the type of person who will be, who someone can just like, frankly, go to a grocery store with and have a good time, or they can be out at a party and have a good time. Like, you're just that person they can call up and you're chatting while you're like, making dinner or whatever. And people just really enjoy your energy because you're just there's a maturity to you. There's a sense of freedom to you, like a sense of, like we said, like a childlike energy to you. You're a combination of both, which is hard to find, someone who's mature, but then also has this childlike abundance and sense of lightness. Okay, I'm going to switch decks here. And we're going to ask a few more in the tarot, and then we'll switch over to, we're going to go ahead and move over to oracle cards. So what compliments do people give Power One behind their back? Oh, two fell out. Okay. First, the Eight of Swords. And then the Four of Swords in reverse. The Eight of Swords is that you appear like you don't let negative thoughts take you over. Now, I say appear because sometimes we don't always know what people are thinking, and a lot of us do struggle with that. But whatever you're doing, you're not living in that vibe or that energy. People don't see that of you at all. They think you're a very positive thinking person, and a person that's always looking at the bright side. And so you definitely reflect that. If you feel like this isn't true for you, it kind of harkens back to, if it isn't true of you right now, it will be true, where you'll be able to control any type of negative thought patterns. The other thing that people see about you with the Eight of Swords is that you have this tendency to avoid victim. Like, you don't you acknowledge when you made a mistake. You acknowledge if something's on you. And you're very quick to do that. You're not somebody who's too prideful to admit that you're human. So you have these wonderful qualities, but you also know you're a human being. And you will totally own that. You're not somebody who's like, no, I didn't do that, or it's somebody else's fault. Like, you really do own your own actions, which is incredibly, like, people compliment you on it all the time. It's a very attractive quality, frankly, because a lot of people just don't have it. It takes courage to admit that. It takes courage to not automatically default to a victim mentality and instead challenge yourself and see, like, okay, I see my part in this. All right, so then there's the Four of Swords. So now the air energy is in here, so I guess that all the audience is pretty much represented at this point. What we're seeing here is there are times where you take your leave and you allow yourself time to just kind of relax and sit in like a deep contemplation. This kind of plays in back to the Hangman card. You're not afraid to slow down and to go internal and to figure out what your next move should be. People really do admire you for this. It keeps coming up, so I think this is like huge. Okay. The Ten of Wands. There's some people also admire that it seems like you carry an incredibly hard, like heavy burden, and you're so willing to help people and support them. And you're just an incredibly hard worker, but like people don't even know how you carry what you're doing now. So, Pile One, I don't know what you're doing, but everybody sees this as like you are carrying a load on your shoulders, and you're incredible. Like what you're able to do, and you may not even be able to see this, but the way other people see you, they compliment you on all that you can handle. Like you have like at times maybe even like juggling style. You're juggling a bunch of responsibilities, but the way you handle it and like your vibe, people really do appreciate. The Ace of Cups. Emotional loss. You're somebody who understands through your intuition how to let go of emotional loss. How to experience it and let it go. And that actually plays in and actually helps fuel your creativity. Because again, you can take responsibility. So you take responsibility for what's yours, you release the rest, hence the emotional loss, right? You let go of any negative emotions or woulda, coulda, shouldas. You're able to do this. People watch you do this, they're like, how? How does Pile 1 do that? How do they move on and then become better for it? And I can't think of a better card to wrap up the tarot. Knight of Pentacles. Again, you have a lot of hard work. You're not afraid of working hard, being diligent, as reflected with the other Pentacle energy. But here it talks about how ultimately you're incredibly responsible. And because of that, you're always going to pretty much be successful. That's the way people see you. That's the way they talk about you. It's just someone, like you're someone that is a joy to be around. Okay, I'm going to pull a few tarot cards. I'm sorry, oracle cards. Oh, fell out here. Let's see. I think too many fell out. Oh, I'm going to take 3 of those. This card came out, and I can't remember for what pile. The Great Severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. You don't carry a lot of anger. Because you know how to process your energy so well, you're somebody where people really compliment the fact that you just aren't an angry person. But you also respect yourself enough. Remember how we talked about earlier with there's the 7 of Wands, and she was in the bubble. Yeah, this one. What you're good about is severing ties when you need to sever ties, also covered in the Ace of Cups. People admire this about you because it's not an easy thing to do. It just isn't an easy thing to do. Like, we can talk about it all day long, but what you show to the world, people compliment you about this behind your back, for sure. A new earth, it's happening. Keep holding the vision. You have a clear vision for your life, and people admire that. You don't seem like somebody who doesn't move. You move with intention. You do not move like it seems to some as impulsive, and then after the fact, they're like, wow, that was completely intentional. Like, as much as they are free and happy-go-lucky and all those things, that leadership, that natural wisdom, is not lost. The portal. Doors are opening. You decide. Rewards. Wild card. You are a wild card to people, for sure, because of what I was talking about earlier. It's just, you're this combination nobody talks about. You have this childlike free energy, and you will go, like, the wheels turn in your favor, and you just go and you explore and you have fun and you do it. And at the same time, you move with precision and you're focused. And at the same time, you can be incredibly passionate and you're okay on your own. Those qualities don't seem to complement each other in some ways. They seem like they'd be different people, but you're all of that. And that's what people compliment you the most about, is the idea that you reflect so many wonderful qualities, and yet you have this sense of, you have a very strong sense of self-worth, and you understand who you are, but in the same token, you're humble, and you're kind, and you're the type of person that people want to be around. This last card, I'm sorry, defensiveness, righting past wrongs, and uprooting. What I see here for you is that you're willing to say, I'm sorry. You just are. Like, again, we talked about it. You will own your piece of anything. At the end of the day, we're human beings. We're going to make mistakes. You own it, but you're not imprisoned by it. You won't let anybody take advantage of you around it. You own your piece in it, and you move on. If people can move with you, great. If they can't, you let it go. If you feel like anything that I just said isn't true of you right now, this is where you are going to be. People already see you as this. Now it's just you embracing who you are and letting yourself see that, because you're already this. You really are. Okay, we're going to pull a couple more oracle cards, a different deck, and then we're going to call it. Okay, pile 1. play, have fun, celebrate, don't be serious. This is perfect. This kind of goes back to what we talked about with you. You're fun. You really are. You're the wild card. You're not just this like serious person that, you know, people maybe assume you are. You're not that. You're so much more than that. So Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. People, you know, people compliment you and actually say like they must have like an amazing, you know, spiritual team, or they must like have been like an angel in the past life. Like they assume you're very blessed because of what they see. They see this divine orchestration. They see how the wheel's always turning in your favor. Arima, what are you being called to journey to? When we talk about how you would stop and just kind of plan where you're headed next, it seems like this is what you're constantly asking yourself is, where am I being called to journey to? And because of that, people, again, that takes a lot of confidence. The last card is Mirror. Who or what is triggering you? You're very well aware, again, with I'm sorry on top, it's on top of I'm sorry. Again, this goes back to you're very aware of who you are. You're very aware of your place and what you're bringing in. And this is huge. This is something that I think is really important for you to just understand and embrace. When you see somebody as like, oh my God, this person's really bothering me, I just don't like them, you will stop and think about that. You're not afraid to look at your shadow side. And you're not afraid to just understand that and to go after it. I feel called to tell you though, don't judge yourself for it, because everybody has that. No one on earth doesn't have that, where you don't have things that will trigger you or that just somebody you just don't like for no reason. Like people have that. That's human nature. So don't judge yourself for it. Instead, embrace the idea that you're willing to look at it. Most people are not. Most people will find reasons to justify why they're this way. You do not. You're a very different person, Palwat. You're a person who is very spiritually advanced. I can see that, there's no doubt. You're a person who's enjoying the human experience, especially with the play card and other cards coming out. Frankly, you're a great person to be around. I would love to know you. I think that you just seem like literally somebody that understands the difficulties of life, but also doesn't let it weigh them down. Like you seem like you have a lot of fun and a lot of passion and all these wonderful qualities. Okay. And with that, we're going to wrap your reading. Thank you so much, Pa1, for joining me. If this resonated with you, please let me know with a comment, or if you want to shoot me a comment, tell me what you're interested in next. Let me know. Please like and subscribe if you feel called to. And thank you so much, seriously, for your time. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello, pile 2. Okay, if you chose the Howlite card, or the Howlite stone, but it's card 2, right? This is your reading. Let's shuffle some cards here. And we're going to get started. So please keep in mind, this reading is a general reading, goes to hundreds of people. So we want to make sure that you take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't try to make it fit you. If you don't resonate with it, then you can choose another deck. With that, we'll get started. What compliments do people give you behind your back? Four of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. This is a good start. What else do we have here? Ten of Wands. Oh, you're selfless. People give that as a compliment for sure. Outgoing, the Hermit. Okay. And we'll pause there. So let's get started. So the first card out is a Four of Pentacles in reverse. What compliments are people giving behind your back? With the Four of Pentacles in reverse, I see that you're an incredibly generous person. People see you as somebody who lives a little extravagantly, but you're also really generous to other people. So you kind of have this mentality of kind of like, why save for tomorrow? Let's go have a good time. But not, I would say it's like excessive. It's just more like you're willing to save, to save money when you need to, but you're also willing to spend for a good experience. You're willing to spend if it makes sense, like a great restaurant, beautiful meal with friends, and or awesome trip. Like, you're willing to do that. You're not going to deny yourself pleasure, which is a quality that you get complimented on. People see you as somebody who has a lot of cool things or has done a lot of cool things because you have a good sense of balance in that regard. The balance is followed up by the King of Pentacles because obviously he is a leader. He's someone who's very prosperous and he has a lot of financial abundance. People see you as somebody with definitely financial abundance, someone who has made a lot of good choices, probably good in business, but also you're an awesome leader. You're someone that when you think about wealth and what that means, you also have like a wealth of knowledge. You have, you're very worldly. You're someone who is just not about the physical, because I know like these cards kind of indicate just physical, but it's not just physical. It's also like you've built a wealth of experiences. You've built a wealth of friends, and you've been able to travel and do all of these different things that people really admire and they compliment you. And then we have the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands, it's kind of self-explanatory, right? So definitely heavy burdens there, but the way it comes out in this reading actually is incredibly complimentary. It talks about how you take on responsibilities and you're willing to go through struggle with others. You're willing to take on burdens to see, something like come to fruition. So you're definitely a hard worker. You're someone who can be incredibly selfless, and you're just a person that is just willing to, we'll say, take on too much at times. People do compliment you on this, but obviously you don't want to make that a habit. Like, you should always take care of yourself. So, don't, sometimes we can't do everything, right? So just, I would say with this that I see, you're just a person that everybody depends on and relies on. It's a gorgeous quality, it really is, but just make sure you take care of yourself too along the way. There's no harm in not taking on too much for yourself, but people do acknowledge that you do that, and they're very appreciative for that. The Hermit card kind of calls in something else about you, which is that you're pretty outgoing. You're someone who likes to go out and about. You're someone who kind of knows about, like, we'll say the new restaurants opening up, and like who's doing what. You're always kind of going to a place, like a party, an event, a grand opening. Like, you're kind of the person where you're willing to, step out there, find some new things to do, and just have a new experience. And that's what I see for you here. So just, I would say for this card, it really is a great quality because it's like you do have the ability to be alone. You do understand, introspection and solitude, of course. But for the most part, you really enjoy socializing, being out and about. Like, you're more of an extrovert. Okay, let's pull some more tarot cards. With the Five of Wands, the Strength card, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So what compliments do people give you behind your back? So when we think about compliments behind your back, you are the type of person where you can be like, people really admire your ability to be ambitious, but at the same time, like how you are just constantly like leveling up, being the next challenge. They love that about you. They love that you're just willing to just go for it, fight for what's yours. And in the same token, you have this sense where you're willing to like engage with others, brainstorm, really have spirited debates. And it's in a good way. Like it's not in like a negative way, but you're someone where you fire up conversation, you fire up debates, you fire up like you challenge people's ideas. This is an amazing quality too, because you're not somebody who's too afraid to speak your mind. You're going to speak your mind. But the way you do it, people really admire it. And so these are compliments that are definitely given behind your back. They admire your strength as well. That's literally come out with the strength card, because they know it takes a strong person and it takes courage to be the way you are, to like challenge the norms, to, you know, speak up when no one's speaking. And sometimes you're the voice of these groups. And I would venture to say, if you look back in a lot of your life experiences, probably for years, maybe even back to being in school, it could be, you know, even in childhood, that you have often been the voice for other people because you have that natural sense of courage. You're incredibly patient. You're also incredibly compassionate. Look at her here. She's petting this lion. She has strength. We know she has strength. She's on a strength card, but strength doesn't mean just brutality. It also means you show strength in the fact that you do have compassion, that you are patient, that you're willing to show courage and to be the strong one for other people. So that is an incredible quality, seriously, and people admire it about you. I think that's an amazing quality. So then we go to the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So what you have the ability to do here is you have a very strong sense of foresight. You're someone who has a great perspective of seeing beyond, like into like, so if you're trying to go after something, or let's just say you're trying to have a difficult conversation or whatever, and you're challenging norms and you're doing all those things, you have the foresight and you have a really good kind of judge of like the conversation where you'll prioritize what's important. And you also have the ability with foresight where it's like, if you could tell something's not going anywhere, you're not going to just belabor the point. You'll move on and you try to like pivot to something else to prioritize where you guys can end on a point that you both can agree. So I would say you're a masterful negotiator. You're incredibly good at negotiations. And you may not see that. It could be part of your career and you could be like, yeah, duh, like that's what I do for a living, which is awesome. I would love to hear that confirmation if that's what you do. But I think you're just kind of that person. You're the person who is outspoken, but you're also the person who will help mend fences. You just have this really beautiful ability to do both. And the other thing is you have we already know you have a strong sense of ambition because that came out here. But the other thing that I see with, the Ace of Pentacles is you're really good at like having new ideas and like really thinking about things. Again, we talked about the foresight, like you start like kind of thinking about things like well in advance, like, okay, I already have these 2 steps planned and you're excited and you're going for it, but then you start already thinking about, okay, well, what's after that? And you just play around with ideas. You don't pressure it. It just kind of flows for you. So that is something that people really admire about you. And I'm already smiling because the next card out is the Magician. Another major arcana for you. So you've had the Hermit, you've had Strength, and now you have the Magician. So with Magician energy, yes, you are someone who we know is very powerful, but you're also very resourceful, and you just have an amazing conscious awareness. You're very aware of what's going on around you. You're very in the moment, and hats off to you. You're the type of person where if, I think that's why you're good at debate, honestly, because you're really like in it. You're aware. You're paying attention. You also are good about putting action behind what you're after. So you're not one of these people who just sit back and be like, I really wish this would happen. You're a manifester. You put action toward it, you put power toward it, you use your strength, use your courage, and you get what you want. People compliment you on that all the time. Okay, let's pull a little bit more from tarot. I'm going to actually switch decks now. So what other compliments do people give pile one behind their back? Let's see if they give any indication on physical. Okay. We have the Nine of Pentacles. All right, Nine of Pentacles. So you definitely have a sense of like luxury, personal achievement. Like you just seem like somebody who's just doing incredibly well. Okay, you have the Seven of Swords in reverse. So the Seven of Swords in reverse, you know, you are the type of person where you're great about looking at things with a fresh perspective, and you also are good about avoiding imposter syndrome. You're really not a person who would doubt yourself very often. You're very self-assured in a great way, not in a negative way, in a really good way. Okay, is there anything about your physical that... Well, Seven of Pentacles. So you definitely reflect someone who is very abundant. You're someone who is classic and elegant. Like when we say luxurious, it's like you have a look of luxury. Like people would assume that you're doing very well for yourself. You know, from the cards that came out, King of Pentacles, I'm sure you are. But it's like you have that look to you. You just have this look of like you have this secret. And people want to know what that secret is. Why is she doing so well? Why is he doing so well? The Son of Cups came out next. You know, you have a very romantic quality to you. The Son of Cups, sorry, is the Knight of Cups. And there's a quality about you that's just incredibly loving and frankly disarming. You have a very natural beauty, or you're incredibly handsome, but it's something that it's romantic. It's almost like the idealized look. And it's because it's the Cups energy, there's a sense of people could fall in love with you right away. You just have that look, like people just kind of like they just look at you and kind of have fantasies, like, you know, oh my God, I could settle down with pile number two. Like, what would it be like to be with them? You know, you could experience a lot of jealousy, like because of your romantic kind of vibe that comes off. It doesn't even mean that's who you are. It's just how people see you and perceive you. It's like you could have kind of lush features, but there's definitely something very beautiful and very idealistic about you. Okay, we're going to switch over to the Goddess and Sirens deck. And I'm just going to pull a couple of cards here. Quitesh, pleasure. This kind of plays into what we're talking about with your physical beauty. You just have this look of pleasure. Like people think about pleasure with you. They think about, again, it kind of goes with luxury too. And just, we started the reading with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Like you're very giving to yourself and you're very like, let's do this. Like it's not in a bad way, but you're willing to spend. You're willing to experience luxury. We've talked about luxury a lot in this reading. The Sirens card also plays into that as well. So this is the second one. This is temptation. Again, there's something incredibly tempting about you and sensuous. And there's just like this really like almost decadent vibe. And that is really surprising. Okay. And the last one, of course it is, prosperity. You're incredibly prosperous. If you're not, you will be. You will be. Like, don't even doubt it. You put off prosperity and luxury and all these things. If you look at all these cards, you notice she's not wearing a lot of clothes. None of these goddess and sirens are wearing a lot of clothes, which is great. They are all dressed incredibly sexy. They're not hiding that sensual nature about them. They're not trying to shut down any qualities of who they are. They are completely leaning into it. I'm going to pull a little bit more tarot. I wasn't planning on it, but I feel like for you this is important. Let me ask, what other compliments do people give you behind your back? What other compliments do people give pile to you behind their back? Oh, the Death card in reverse. Hopefully that stays in view. Sorry about the reflection. Okay, so the Death card in reverse, we're talking about personal transformation. If you're not this, as far as if you're not this free in your body, which, you know, no judgment, you probably are very free with who you are. But if you're not on a physical level, I see this as coming very soon and is indicated by the Death card with personal transformation. You're meant to really shine loud physically. This is not just about, oh, I'm spiritual and oh, I'm this and I'm that. No, this is like, if this reading resonates with you, you're supposed to stand out and honor this aspect of yourself. Don't judge your desire for it. Step into it. This is who you're supposed to be this time around, how you want to represent yourself on planet Earth today. If these cards resonate with you, and I'm actually going to hold them up because of the glare, just so you can see them lined up. Does this card resonate with you? Look at her. She's seductive. She's looking at the camera. She's owning her sense of pleasure. And some of that pleasure is more about, you can tell it's probably just about her enjoying her life, doing her, indulging, right? The next card up, this card talks about, it's the Sirens card, it's talking about temptation. Look at this. Does she look like she's trying to cover up? She looks like she has a mission. It's not, again, about anybody else, but she's just after her own goals. But she's not shy. And then the last one here, prosperity. Again, look at how she's completely just embracing her body. Looks like she's mid-dance, just enjoying herself. She's living her life. She's not trying to be bothered with anybody's opinions of her. This Death card is confirmation for some of you. Personal transformation. If you are not representing yourself the way you desire to be, this Death card is telling you it's time. It's telling you your personal transformation is here. Okay? It's followed up with the Justice card. This is further information for you. The Justice card represents, for you, it's fair to step into who you are. You need to tell yourself the truth. You need to tell yourself the truth. So if any of this that we're talking about right now resonates and you want to step into representing yourself differently, stepping into who you picture yourself as the mind's eye, this is your confirmation. This reading is confirmation to do it. Don't hold back. Go for it. There's no reason to hold back. There's no guilt, especially if you're in the spiritual community. A lot of times there's kind of some judgment around, you know, our physical selves and how we represent. Throw all that out the window. Your desire and who you want to be and how you want to reflect is 1,000% your call. And you do this and you live 100% authentic to yourself. People who love you will not judge you. The people who judge you and don't get it, maybe some of them aren't being true to themselves. Remember what the Justice card is. The Justice card is telling us we have to tell the truth. And in this instance, you have to tell yourself the truth. Are you aligned with how you want to represent yourself in the world? And if you're not, then this is freedom to change it. If you are, then these cards can be viewed with a confirmation that you've done personal transformations in your life, a confirmation that you're telling yourself the truth and that you're meant to stand out with all of these beautiful qualities, with pleasure, with temptation, and with prosperity. Okay, the next clarifying is the Six of Cups. When we think about the Six of Cups, and you think about what we're talking about here, it's time for you to reconnect with who you are and tap into your future self. Tap into who you want to be. Who are you in your head? Who would you love to be as your future self? And this is exactly what you can manifest now. Need I remind you, you are the magician, okay? You're the magician. You can bring about anything that you want. So in this moment, you can choose, my future self is this, keep it clear in your mind's eye, and go for it. Two of Cups. People will love you regardless, if that's a concern of you. And 2 may be significant to you. 11 may be significant to you as well. Those numbers stood out as I was reading. When we think about the Two of Cups, it talks about a unified love. We're talking about attraction. Whatever way you're presenting yourself in the world, is important for you to feel attractive. Not attractive to other people, attractive to yourself. Feel that self-pride. Feel that sense of, I look good today, and allow that to come in. Again, it may feel something that seems strange and off, and I'm actually surprised we're talking about this in this reading, but this is just a message that had to come out to your pile. I don't know why. It probably will only resonate for a few of you, but whatever it is, show yourself that love, that self-love, and know it's okay to want to feel attractive and to want to step out in the world. And maybe you're dating, maybe you're just in a long-term relationship and you just aren't feeling yourself in the moment. This is confirmation. There's no reason for you not to. You have all the qualities of a siren. You literally got siren. Think about that. Like, that's crazy. That card doesn't come out every day. The Tower card in reverse. This is beautiful. Whatever you need to know with this piece of the reading, this is confirmation. Whatever needed to be broken down, like as far as maybe negative beliefs about yourself, it's already occurred because it's in reverse. This is a post. So you're stepping into your future self, Six of Cups. You're going to honor the fact of how you desire to see your future self. Be really, even if it feels like superficial, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to step into who you are and who you're meant to be. Okay, now we're going to pull oracle cards, and we're going to go back to our subject here of what compliments do people give behind your back? What compliments do people give pile number 2 behind their back? Okay. Retreat, rest, and be held, deep replenishment. People feel very replenished by your energy. They feel so supported. And you're just kind of a person where, yeah, you go out, you have a good time, you look luxurious, you're obviously sexy, all these things, right? But to them, to the people that love you, to the people who compliment you behind your back, they see you as like just so supportive. They feel that they can rest with you. They feel like you're a sense of retreat, that they can be held by you. Spirit brought home this card, the crumbling. What are you clinging to? Again, reminding you of that kind of segued message. If there's anything you're clinging to about who you are, who you desire to be versus who you're reflecting yourself in public, it's time to step into who you're meant to be. It's time to reflect everything that you are. You have nothing to be ashamed about, to hide. You're an amazing person. Again, people in your life, they look to you as like, I just feel so good with pile 2. I feel like I can just rest with them. I feel like we could just hang out and chill. It's not a big deal. Or we can go out to an amazing restaurant and have a great time and I can party with them. I feel like they're both for me. That's an amazing quality. Pleiades, double mention, channeling and uplifting humanity. That's what you're here to do. And you do it in a variety of ways. You can do it in a quiet way. You can do it in a very dramatic way. You know, so, but you're here uplifting people just by who you are. There's no reason to hide who you are. Okay, and now I'm going to pull more oracle cards. Sorry, I'm like getting confused on what deck to pull. Okay, here we go. More oracle cards. This will be the final bit of your reading. So we're going to ask, what compliments do people give you behind your back that we need to be aware of? What compliments do people give you behind your back? So we have Seize Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. What I see here for this card, you're really great about bringing people's unconscious desires and like their fears even to light, but in a very comfortable way. So when we think about this card here, which was deep replenishment, rest, be held, that's how people feel about you, like you replenish them. And this was water, and then this is also water, talking about the same thing, talking about how you're good about bringing unconsciousness to light. You're safety for people. And that's what people compliment you about. It's just how good they feel in your presence. Loosening your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, let God in. You've conquered a lot of things in your life, and addiction could be one of them. And if you have, hats off, because that's not an easy thing to do. You know how to break free of things that are just very difficult to break free from. And any type of coping mechanism, and it may not necessarily be addiction, but it could have been something that just wasn't really that great for you. And you're able to release yourself from it. People look up to you for that. They respect you for that. And they compliment you behind your back. Maybe they don't tell you about it, but they're impressed. It could be something like you lost weight. It could be that you stopped smoking. It could be that you're not drinking. It could be all sorts of things, right? That gambling or overspending, whatever it was, for the people that it resonates, this is something that people talk about and they admire because, frankly, not many people are able to do it. And it's incredibly impressive. Okay, and then Star Ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. You have an ethereal nature to you and a little bit of a mysterious nature as well. This is what people give compliments on. They just don't know what to expect from you next. You're kind of like this person who you're never going to do exactly what everybody else does. There's always going to be an aspect of you that's different. You may be out and about. You may want to go to parties. You may do these things. But there's always something about you that's different. There's always something about you where you're just throwing your own personal pile 2 touch to it. So with that, they compliment you about it all the time because you stand out. All right, pile 2, that concludes your reading. Please let me know if this reading resonated with you. This one was incredibly specific, so I would like to hear if this made sense for you, especially since Spirit had us kind of diverge to another message and then circle back around. But anyway, thanks for hanging with me the whole message. And please like and subscribe. And I look forward to you joining me on the next one. Take care. Bye. Hi, pile 3. If you selected the amber card, this is your message. So I will start shuffling. And the question is, what compliments do people give behind your back? So pile 3. What compliments do people give pile 3 behind their back? And as a reminder, this reading is for hundreds of people, so please take what resonates and leave the rest. If this reading just doesn't resonate at all, feel free to listen to another card or another pile. Okay, so first card out is Judgment. Next is the Star in reverse. The Hierophant. Gosh, you are all major arcana. King of Wands in reverse. Well, that's impressive. All major arcana for pile 3. So we start out with the Judgment card. And what we see here is that there's a very strong inner calling that people see with you. You seem like somebody who's just on a mission, and you seem incredibly focused, and people really compliment you on this. You are someone who you're one of a kind, frankly. And I see that there's some 2s on this card, so 20 may mean something to you. You could be 20 years old, or 20 could be some significance in your life. Also, 222 can also be significant to you. So one thing's for certain is that it seems like you're in a position as well of rebirth, like you've accomplished a lot, and people are seeing that you're just a totally different person than maybe who you've been, or you're growing into a different person to who you've been, but they definitely see a significant change in who you are. Pile 3. The Star comes out next, and this is in reverse. The way I see this here is they just really admire how much you trust yourself. They also admire the fact that you don't stay in the sense of, you don't stay down. You have a tendency to bounce back and have a good amount of faith. You're someone who really has a strong sense of self, and people really admire that about you. You're a person that really just kind of, you don't give up hope easily. You don't. And not to say you don't have down moments, of course you do, everybody does, but you're just somebody who bounces back quick. And so people definitely see that. So coming up next is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, I mean, talk about an amazing card to get. What I see here is that you're incredibly intuitive. You really have this ability to, like we talked about with the other cards, yes, you trust yourself, but you also have a sense of sensitivity to other people and their experiences. You're incredibly empathetic, and people really, they give you compliments over this. They give you compliments that a lot of times you're more aware than the people closer in their lives about how they're doing, or you're big about asking people how they're doing, and you're really paying attention. You're incredibly observant. You probably at times have observed things about people and be like, oh my God, nobody even noticed that, or how did you remember that? Like, that's the High Priestess energy at work. You just have this tendency to really be in this beautiful, intuitive vibe, and people just, yeah, that blows them away. And so they're very they compliment you about it all the time. They look up to you, frankly, for this quality all of the time. The King of Wands in reverse. They also see you, they compliment you for the fact that there's times where you can look like you're making an impulsive decision or doing something rash. And then but then how it turns out, they're like, oh my God, I don't know how Pile 3 pulled that off. I don't know if it's a sense of luck, or it's just the fact that you have a tendency to do things at times and always have high expectations, even though you're doing something in a fast way, and it comes out really good. You have it kind of goes back to that intuition. To other people, they would be like, oh my God, Pile 3 is being impulsive. They're going to lose it all. Can't believe they're doing this. And you just come out winning. You're this person where you are able to achieve, you're able to achieve things that people can't even explain. They don't even know how you're doing it. They're just like, oh my God, I thought Pile 3 was done, and then they did this. You're just that person where you just, you know what, you throw the ball in the net, past the buzzer. You're that person where you just slip it in anyway and you win. Okay, so the next one up, we have the King of Wands. Now it follows up with the Three of Wands. For what compliments do people give pile number 3? So when we think about the Three of Wands, it's the fact that you have incredible foresight. We talked about your intuition, but people really admire that about you. They admire the fact that you're very expansive. They also admire, you notice how he's looking off in the distance and he's by himself, and there's a sense of steadiness with how he's standing. You're somebody who's very stable, and you're very great about having plans and making progress and preparing and gradually expanding and gradually getting to more and more opportunities. You can do all of those things. And at the same time, you can have a sense of haste that at times seems like people just don't know how you're doing it. Then you have the Eight of Pentacles that has come out. The Eight of Pentacles represents your hard work, how diligent you are, your passion. You're incredibly passionate about the things that you care about. People love this about you. And you can be incredibly spontaneous too. So on one hand, you can be, try, choose, steady, and all of these things. But you also can be incredibly spontaneous. You're very fun to be around. You're someone who can at times be the life of the party, but you're also someone who people just like to be around you. Like they look forward to seeing you. The next one out is the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles represents the idea that you're very giving. You're willing to give to people who need it. You're willing to give your time, your energy. Like you're just not somebody who's just gonna sit by and let someone be treated poorly. Like you're not that person. If you can help in any way, you will. You're very charitable. I wouldn't be surprised if you were part of charitable organizations, if you donated regularly, if you're a person who gives away your clothes and gives it to people in need, there, works at a soup kitchen, like all these things, like that's kind of your vibe. People compliment you on that so much. They're in awe of your giving heart. And then we have the Four of Cups. You're really great about choosing happiness and accepting when things don't go exactly your way. And that's actually on top of the King of Wands when we talk about you taking risk and it works out for you. Even when it doesn't, you choose like this sense of like happiness and you accept and you move on so quickly. Like you have the bounce back game on lock. You are just the type of person where you just make it happen. Regardless of what makes sense, you can totally do that. Okay, so now we're going to switch over. I'm going to ask about your appearance and what people compliment about you. Well, from a physical end, people compliment the idea of you can move in a graceful way. You can be very like, I don't know, maybe you're a dancer, maybe you do like Pilates or yoga or like, but you have a very good sense of like, we'll say body mastery. Like maybe you're athletic, you could be a runner, you could be a weightlifter, like whatever it is, you could be a bodybuilder. The way, let's just say you're a bodybuilder, like how you can do a deadlift is impressive. Like you have like perfect form and just like how you nail that. Or if you're, doing Pilates, like how you're able to just flow from one move to the next move like a dancer, and they're like in awe of that. Your body and your movement gets a lot of attention. People admire that about you. Okay. The next one out is you really have a great sense of vision for everything that, like the way you dress, the way you could put together an outfit, like shows a very big sense of vision. With the Seven of Pentacles, you're just able to just kind of flow and just make it happen, and you're not like really super worried about it. Like you do a really excellent job at just letting things kind of happen. Okay. Okay, and then the next one is the Eight of Cups. You have a sense, so it's luxury, but it's also like you like the finer things and you're able to, you know how to like dress for every occasion. So if you're going to like, we'll say a black tie event, you know exactly how to look fantastic no matter, I mean, it could cost you practically nothing. You could be using what's in your closet with a few accessories, but you will be like one of the most complimented people in the room. You just know how to own your style, own your body and your mannerisms, and people are just jaws drop when you walk in the door. They're blown away with who you are. There's also a sense of like kind of a classic beauty, like a classic approach, the Hierophant. When I say classic, I think like classic styles, maybe classic cuts or pieces that you wear, but it's definitely something that stands out for sure. People are a little taken aback by how you approach, but you definitely, yeah, you're definitely the person where you just, you know how to, you really know how to like dress, you know how to enter a room, you know how to like, there's a vibe about you that people are just brought in by, and they see you as someone that they want to be near and someone that they want to just like get a little time with because they're so curious. Okay, I'm going to grab a few oracle cards. So Artemis is the first one out, individuation. You have a very, like, when we talk about the classic style, think about someone who maybe you're wearing like something classic, like, you know, Chanel or something like that, like a Chanel purse. But then you play it up with like Doc Martens and, you know, a cool dress. Like you're somebody where you'll take classic styles, but you know how to throw your own spin on it and make it really interesting. And so that's what we see here with the Artemis individualization. Like, you know, she has her own style here. She's not like a lot of the other girls in the deck. For one, she has a bow and arrow. For the other, she's wearing this really heavy headdress. And the shot doesn't really, you know, there's some mystery to her, and there's some mystery to you, like just how she's looking at the camera. I'll hold it up. She's looking at the camera, and it's like we only get a side shot, and there's not a lot there. Like we don't even know how to take that. Segment, which is reduction. You know when like when something's too much and then when something's not enough, like you're really great with balance. You could be a Libra. You have a really great eye for detail and for balance. Freya, irresistibility. You're incredibly irresistible. People just find, it's just something about you. It doesn't even have to be anything specific physically. People just find you irresistible. Okay. Let me see if there's any more. Should I be pulling tarot in any of this? I want to do oracle cards here, so. What compliments do people give you behind your back? Pile 3. What compliments do people give you behind your back? This came out for pile 2. So if pile 2 resonated with you at all, go ahead and check this out. The way I see it for you is that you don't cling on to things. You let things go. You're really good about just letting things go. The other card out is leap. You go first. The universe will catch you. You are the blueprint for the Fool, for the leap card here. You will take the risk, and you don't mind. It again goes back to that King of Wands in reverse. You're willing to just go for it, to take that risk. People compliment you on this quality so much because that's one of the scariest things to do, is to go after something without knowing the outcome. Our brains literally like tell us not to do that because it's so dangerous in our minds, and you will just do it. It's incredible. Align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? I'm not clear on where that's going, so I'm going to pull some tarot. I'm going to ask for a clarification card for Align Your Life. Okay, so there's a fractured kind of sense of self. So people see you as someone who has a very aligned life and very balanced, but this is kind of a breakout, which is interesting. I had a breakout session for pile 2, but this is kind of a breakout message that if you've been experiencing like inner turmoil or like just really stressed, like hard to sleep, and you just are starting to struggle with some worry and releasing it, which doesn't seem common for you, but if it is, then there's something that needs to shift in your life. There's something that needs to change. Let me get some more clarification on this. What does pile 3 need to do for this card? Looks like you need to surrender with the Hangman. So whatever the situation is, surrendering could help you, like, you know, or try to find a new perspective. But whatever it is, it's time for deep insight, and then you can kind of decide, like, pause for deep insight, and then from there to kind of decide how you're going to go about it. And there could be an emotional loss. If there's emotional loss, if that resonates with you, I'm sorry, because that's a hard thing to go through, for sure. If you're feeling like an emotional loss or like a block to like your creativity, if you're not feeling loved or supported, then all of these kind of situations could be resonating back to this Align Your Life card. So all you have to do really is, what I see on the back of the deck is the 6 of Cups. Lean into happy memories. Lean into what is going on that's good in your life and kind of leave the rest. So like let it go and things will start panning out. So just start really, I think, contemplating on what it is and playing out your options. And if it's getting you too down and dumps, then maybe pause the whole thing and then just start circling back after you focus on what's going good in your life. Looking at happy memories, looking at things where you've been successful, looking, you know, at maybe some things that you've accomplished with a sense of nostalgia sometimes helps, because sometimes we just need to be reminded of what we've done and how far we've come. Okay. Now, interesting, I didn't plan to pick this up. Okay, so the final card is the 7 of Blades. There could be something that could feel a bit like you've been betrayed. And if that's the case, you know what? It's one of those things, again, sit with where you're at right now and sit with like the things that you can see that are positive in your life, and eventually that will work itself out. I'm going to pull some more oracle cards to see what they have to say here. Oh, perfect. Next oracle card out. How you can mother yourself, Star Mother. Take some time to think about how you can heal. When we think about the 6 of Cups, it's like leaning into like childhood memories, nostalgia, like kind of looking at things with a positive perspective. How can you mother yourself? Like what would like a mother do for you in this moment that would serve you and that would take care of you? Okay. And then okay, we're going to do the final bit of oracle cards here. What compliments do people give behind pile 3's back? You're very big into community and you're very supportive of others. And this "you're not alone" shows that. You're very good about making sure that people don't feel alone. They really admire that about you. Earth, learning how to be human in a world but not of it. They compliment the fact that it seems like you're not affected by the world and some of, we'll say, the difficult challenges They see you as somebody who's been able to keep a sense of innocence and childlike wonder and a sense of just, you're able to take care of yourself in a beautiful way, and you're able to maintain a positive attitude. And people really admire this about you. Empathetic starseed, energetic sovereign, absorbing what's not yours. You are probably an empath, and what people admire about you that know that quality about you, or maybe they just have picked up on it just slightly, but for the people who definitely actively know it, is that you really have a good rein around being an empath and taking in people's energy, and you're able to like avoid absorbing others' energy, or at least you're working on that. If you're not already mastered at it, this is a confirmation that you will master that. And the last, forge, do not follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. I get that card a lot, which is very interesting. I think that's the third time I've pulled it, my last few readings. So when you're paving a new path as a leader, you are a leader here, and I think that may be some of the reason why this last bit of struggle that we talked about is coming up. But if you reflect the fact that you can mother yourself and take care of yourself and give yourself space to kind of decide how to deal with the situation, you're fine. People admire you because you are a leader. And it doesn't mean you could be an actual leader. You could have people reporting to you. You could be like the oldest in the family and people just follow your lead. It could be all sorts of things. Frankly, you could be the lead at a sorority house or in a friendship group. You could be a lead in a variety of ways. But even if you aren't, people see you that way. There's something about you that is commanding that people see as a leader. So embrace it and know, like, you're exactly where you should be at this point in time. You're exactly on time. And any struggles that you have, you'll be able to overcome them. It won't even be difficult. Okay. And with that, thank you so much. Pile 3. Really, this reading was very fun for me to do, and please send me a message. Let me know how this resonated with you. If you resonated with you, please like, subscribe. Let me know how things are going for you. And yeah, thanks for spending time with me, and I'll chat with you later. Bye.